wife and I, because of things like this. And I was talking to some other relatives of ours, and they feel the same way. There's a bunch of them that feel the same way, but they're afraid to talk to this one person because they don't want to hurt her feelings. And I'm saying, you got to look at it like this. I'm the Lone Ranger right now, speaking truth into her life. But if 20 or 30 got bold enough to speak into her life and say, you're wrong,
out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses,
there's going to be power behind that.
Yeah, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses.
And that's what we have to look at.
That's right.
We can't be silent. We got to tell. The more people that come forward, the more it's going to encourage those that are hiding to come forward.
Right. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that Christians make, even in evangelizing, they feel like they have to sow the seed, water the seed, and harvest the seed all at one shot.
Right.
You don't have to do that.
Plant the seed.
Just plant the seed. Guess what? God will send someone along to water it.
Right, exactly.
When the time is right. And then God will send someone along when the time is right to harvest the seed. You may not be called to sow, water, and harvest all at one shot.
Right.
People aren't ready for that.
Right.
You are just called to sow it at that time, but you have to discern which part are you. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it all at one shot if that's what God's called to do, because you can, but we have to discern. We have to use wisdom as to which part am I called to do for this particular person.
You have to feel the atmosphere.
Right.
And you move in that atmosphere, and that's the Spirit telling us. Right. And you're exactly right. Some are going to seed, some are going to water, and some are going to harvest.
That's right. Listen, some atheists out there can quote the Bible better than some Christians can, because Christians go out there and they want to beat them over the head with the Bible constantly, with Scripture, when God's just saying, look, I just need you to go in and sow it. Just sow the seed.
That's right.
And then walk away.
Just plant the thought. Plant the
thought, and then walk away.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're driving a wedge between that person and me, is what God is saying.
Yeah.
Because you think you got to go in there and do all this at one shot, when I'm just calling you to go in and just sow it and walk off.
But you're exactly right. Absolutely. So also, there are a lot of other things that are happening that we want to get into. So you got a list there?
Brother, you can start with yours. I can start with mine. Here we go. Right here. Senate Judiciary Committee unanimously votes on the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett as a 12-0 decision, as this committee Democrats boycotted the roll call. They had their pictures in place. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did.
I mean, how ridiculous can you get? So it's going to go to a full vote, I believe, on Monday, I believe. Am I correct in that? I think it's Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so Monday. So, guys, there it is right there. There's the beginning stages, because, look, the first 2 judges we got were replacing kind of conservative judges. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kennedy was kind of a swing vote, but he kind of leaned towards the conservative side more of the time. So we really haven't gained a lot of ground with the first. We're just holding ground, basically, with these first 2.
Right.
This one was a big one because it took out a very high-level Satanist on the bench.
Yep.
And one who was trying to push pedophilia, one who was trying to push, okay for prostitution, all of these different things. And that high-level witch was removed from the bench of our highest court in the land and being replaced by a Christian, a godly woman. And so this is going to be a huge one. This is the beginning, I believe, of the reformation of the Supreme Court that's going to lead to the overturning of Roe versus Wade.
That's right. It's very important for people to understand. When Ginsburg passed away, there was a huge gate of freedom that opened up for America.
Oh, yeah.
It removed a satanic ritual, an SRA. It removed that ritual and just opened up a new pathway for Christians to stand up. And I want to say this, and I posted it the other day on social media, that if you hate a man more than you care about a baby that's about to be aborted, God has a serious problem with you, and you're not a Christian, period.
Ooh.
And that opened up such a huge pathway for freedom and deliverance that removed a huge lock and chain off of America.
Yep, absolutely.
And I believe see the results.
We'll see the results. Now, does Roe versus Wade get approached with the 3 justices on the court? The timing's got to be right, guys. So we got to be patient, because God said 5's coming. So we need 2 more. I think once those 2 more get in place, could they approach it before then? They certainly could. I don't know. We'll find out what God has in store, but we just got to continue to pray And I believe at that point, it'll go down at a federal level. It'll get kicked back to the states. And it's at that point, the states will be either to usher in the blessings or the curses upon that state as to what they do with Roe versus Wade at that point.
Right. Which is why it's so important to vote local.
Yep. And, well, there's some good things coming out of COVID. Never mind. Losing the next thing. So there's a lot of good things coming out of COVID. And one of those things is our friend has always said, okay, that, you can tell people stuff, but they may or may not listen. But when they live it out, when they experience it firsthand, things change. They get the will to change something. And so when that happens right now with this COVID thing, people are living it out. What is the one thing, Paul, that's driving the point home, this COVID thing is? It is because people want to make the federal elections their number one priority, when in fact, what they're finding out right now, it's your state and local governments that count just as much as the federal, because they're the ones that are defying the states or your governors or the president saying to open the states up. Right. And they're the ones keeping people in lockdown. They're the ones that are destroying the businesses. So that's why this is important to get out and vote for your local and state, or get involved or run for office yourself. Right.
Right. It's very important and it lays in our hands on whether we want our state to be blessed or cursed.
That's right.
It's very important. And who we put in office brings that curse or that blessing. Right. And in 2 years, when governments and when governors are up, we got to be very important. It's got to be important. And we got to be very aware of what a governor can do to a state, which we're finding out right now because of COVID.
That's right. And so, look, if you are called, and I know you can't get in a race right now because it's too late to get in a race right now, but if you're called to be in an office at the local, state, or federal levels, there's more elections coming. So you need to prepare yourself. If God's calling you to that position, you need to prepare yourself and take your position.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about the stuff going on with bin Laden. Because I know you've been away. Okay, so the bin Laden truth is coming out right now. That's being exposed. Whistleblower has terabytes of information about what actually happened on the bin Laden raid. Right. That bin Laden was not there. It was actually a body double. Yeah. SEAL Team 6 knew this, which is why SEAL Team 6 by Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Biden had them assassinated, basically.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I tweeted out about 2 days ago was a huge sign to me that this was in fact the case, because they're trying to hide it, is that the admiral from the bin Laden raid endorses Joe Biden. Yeah. The fact that he's endorsing Joe Biden should tell you what we all are hearing about Barack Hussein Obama, Hillary Rodham Clinton, and Biden having SEAL Team 6 assassinated is in fact true. He doesn't want justice or the truth to come out. The fact that this guy was in charge of the bin Laden raid and endorsing Biden says it all right there. And it says it all.
Yeah, that's the line that God's drawing.
That's the line.
We keep saying God's drawing a line and God's drawing a line. That is the line that God's drawing.
That's right.
On who you're siding with.
That's right. That's right. And it's like, choose this day whom you are going to serve. And you can't serve someone if you're not willing to speak the truth.
Yeah.
You can't serve someone if you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs. That's not serving. That's serving your self-interest.
Yeah.
So, but the bin Laden thing, there are terabytes of information that this whistleblower has that's bringing forward: video, documents, audio, you name it. And so they were saying Iran actually pulled him out of, was it Pakistan where they got him, and held him, and that the 1.5 billion or whatever it was that Obama gave Iran was actually hush money, because Iran was telling them, we're going to go public with this and tell them you had SEAL Team 6 assassinated. That was to keep their mouth shut. These are the kinds of dirty things that are coming out. So, I mean, when you look at this stuff, you got the Benghazi thing coming back again. Nobody's going to forget about the Benghazi stuff with Hillary Clinton. I mean, all these things are going to boil to the surface. And I got a theory with this. This is just my theory, my humble opinion. You look at the COVID thing. You know how we had videos surfacing of the hospitals? They were building up the hospitals, the medical staff, all the equipment, this, that, and the other. And there were videos going around. Our friend Liz Crokin was going around, even showing all these ERs were empty.
Right.
The hospitals were empty. Now, why was that? Camouflage, right? So why were they building this up? Well, I was a first responder still. I was still a lieutenant on the fire department when 9/11 happened. And right after 9/11 happened, our call load went up, because this generation's never been attacked on American soil before.
Right.
So people had having strokes, heart attacks, this, that, and the other. So here's my theory. Are they actually preparing? Because our friend, okay, says that they can only give us 60% of the truth because it would put 90% of us in the hospital.
I agree with that 100%.
So the 60% of the truth that's about to drop, is it about to put a bunch of people in the hospital? And that's what they've been preparing for. And they were using, I'm not saying COVID wasn't real, but they were using part of the COVID as a cover-up, not a cover-up, but a disguise to bolster their equipment, bolster the people, the medical staff, because they know when this information drops, it's going to put people in the hospital.
Wow. That's very interesting.
So we're going to find out.
Yeah. That's the theme of this